Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome new show this week. All kind of stuff going on. It's very interesting this last week. We saw rates go down last week. We had a 5-month low last week, interest rates. And then also we saw a slowdown in sales this week. So it's kind of all over the place. We'll talk about what's happening, and rates bump back up a little bit. So all kind of stuff going on. We'll break down and say, hey, what's happening? What's going on? Some national data showing, quote, new home sales plunge as market slowdown continues. So we'll talk about that in terms of what's happening out there. Our investment fund bought another house as is, cash, instant cash offer. You've probably seen some of that on our billboards out there. Instant cash offer, a huge fund with millions of dollars that I represent that come in and just buy a house instantly as is. No, no like people walking through, none of that stuff. And we'll tell a super cool story about it, about a family who's moving down to Georgia. In terms of that, we've also seen inventory climbing, which is interesting. We'll kind of see that both condos as well as houses. So that's kind of a little bit interesting going into this fall market in terms of what's happening. Overall, again, some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it through the summer market, but some interesting numbers. As you know, we track every single week. We saw a 10+% slowdown just week over week, even though rates dropped down a little bit. And so it's been a little interesting. We've seen showing slow down a little bit. Some of that we've seen some hesitation with the election. We'll talk about all that stuff. The same exact thing that we always do here for 14+ years on the station is we just want to give you everything in terms of data information to help make better decisions with your largest assets and be able to make good decisions. If you ever want to come back and listen to this show, you can always go check out the podcast. Just type in Blake Sloan Radio. You can search us on YouTube. We stream to YouTube. Type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. Find us on Facebook. Look me up under Blake Sloan. All that stuff's there. You can go back, watch it again, share it with friends, but stick with us. Lots of great stuff on today's show.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes Magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor Magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Brett, the morning show. You heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also our reporter Gary LeVox. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, absolutely. Even though it may sound repetitive, I made a promise to myself that this is probably, 5-6 years ago, just after seeing horror story after horror story after horror story, and I still see it really about 5 days a week. Continue. We talked about it yesterday in our team meeting. That everyone seems to make the same mistake. So I made a promise. I'm like, look, anybody gets anything out of this show, I hope it's just one thing. And so it still keeps happening. So I'm still going to make a promise, keep talking about it. And this comes down to the largest mistake that anyone makes, and it mistake they all make. And I'm talking like almost everyone, because everybody that calls our office usually asks the same question. They say, what do you charge? They don't really ask you, what do you do? What makes you different? Nothing. That they just think all agents are the same. And so when you get to conversations, in most cases, everyone makes this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth, right? Just because it deals with people and service-based business, you combine a service-based business with people where everything that happens depends on that person and how well they execute. That's what determines your success or failure. It's a massive difference in terms of who you choose, right? Some agents are very well versed in how things work. Some agents are very committed to their job. Other agents are more committed to golf than they are real estate, right? There's all kind of different aspects. And for most people, like I mentioned earlier, it's their largest asset. And so the fact is, the single most important variable that determines your success or failure as a home seller comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent that you choose, period. Not your wall color, not the grass quality. It comes down to the agent you have, and specifically, how does your agent execute from A to Z? What most people don't realize, when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? Puts money in your pocket, your property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, guess what happens, right? That costs you your hard-earned equity, or the property does not sell. We're in a marketplace now where you're seeing almost 50% of properties aren't selling in their 6 months. They're getting listed. They're either having to be extended or take off the market or list with somebody else. You're seeing almost 50% of listings get price reductions right now, and you're just seeing that all across the board. And so right now, more than ever, it's more important. When the market was super hot, you get away with it, right? The lines were a little bit blurred because it was a frenzy. And so you could take some cell phone photos, put them on the MLS, and people were selling, right? and it's sometimes they go multiple offers. Now that the market's slowed down and starting to correct itself a little bit and be more what we call normalized, now the agent you choose matters more than anything. What you find though is that really the old school business model where one single agent juggles all those balls, it's just simply impossible for one person to do, right? So what most agents do is they do the 3 Ps. They promise you the world to get the listing. They'll say anything and everything. Use their number one, right? They're really trustworthy. They've been in the business for a while, whatever it is. Then the second P they do is they put it into MLS, the multiple listing service. And 3, they sit back and pray that someone else sells it for them. And then they're on to the next listing trying to get that. They get half the commission. They're okay with that. And that's how it works. And so that's been the business forever. And when I got in the business, I'm like, man, I grew up in it. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, entire family sold real estate. I was like, there's got to be a better way once I got in the business. And I looked around and I'd been to, study business at Coastal Carolina. I had lots of different books and things. I was just very, very fascinated with business. I'm like, how do we take a business, like a real business outside of real estate, make that into real estate? Because when I was at Coldwell Banker, I started out, there's 200 plus agents there. They didn't care about me. I didn't care about them. We were all independent and we all handle everything A to Z. And so we were basically a generalist. We were just doing everything in general, but nothing was specialty. And so what happens is when you're a generalist, you never really execute anything at a high level. When you're a specialist, they specialize in that specific aspect and they get a high level result in each and every part. And so what I did is I flipped the old school business model upside down. We have a team of specialists where every single person specializes in what they do, both inside sales, outside sales, a listing coordinator, closing coordinators. We have full-time videographer, photographer. We have listing specialists, buyer specialists, all that stuff so that they can specialize in that part and make sure they're able to get the highest result for the client. And obviously they obviously study that area of the business. They're very, very committed to it, and it makes a massive, massive difference. And so what I did with that, we combined 2 main things: a team of people. In technology, we spent multiple 6 figures in technology, continue to do so to make sure we can create maximum leverage for our clients. And back to what I mentioned, what we realized is that, hey, look, how do I make sure that we manage every single one of those variables, 118 of them, at every single point? And if I can make sure we execute the highest level at every single one, at point 1, point 2, at point 3, what it does is it creates a small gap at each point versus everyone else. And you add all those small gaps over 118, it creates a massive gap between you and competitors, aka your house down the street or whoever you're competing against. And it gives our client a massive competitive advantage. So I designed this thing using that called the guaranteed sold system, the only proven system that sells homes twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. I designed it. It's exclusive to us. We do licenses to other agents, other parts of the country. It works very, very, very well. The same thing for buyers out there. It's a very difficult marketplace in terms of what's happening, right? Inventory is still fairly low historically. And so you want to make sure you have a true expert. And so we have this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you product access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation, purchase price, as well as home inspection to get you that close table successfully. But the one last thing to share is that the agent that you choose matters more than anything else, just like any lawyer, right? If you get sued by somebody, the last thing I'm going to do is use the attorney that sued me. And the last thing I'm going to do on top of that is get some part-time attorney who's the cheapest attorney or whatever it is, or an attorney who's only tried a few cases. I want the absolute best attorney who's the most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law so that they can give me a competitive advantage in the courtroom. And you should want that same exact thing. And the difference there in all these, like I mentioned, is a service-based business. You ever been to a doctor's office and had a really good experience? It's like, man, this person really cares about me. They take notes, they sit down. And we've been to another one like a Doc in the Box or something where they go in, ask you a couple of questions, write your prescription, and you feel like, man, they didn't even care about anything. And you see this happen over. And the difference is it's a service-based business based on people. And it all comes down to how they execute all the variables from A to Z. It's the same exact thing that we do from a real estate standpoint. We're fanatical about details, fanatical about results. If you want to know more, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Go to blakesloan.com or call us anytime at 843-808. So we'll be right back here in a second.
What's the best way to save or make the most money when buying or selling your home? Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active investor, I can tell you the only thing more expensive than hiring a professional real estate agent is hiring an amateur. Now, there are over 100 details in a single transaction, and dollars are in the details. That's why it's important to hire the most experienced and knowledgeable agent. And here in Myrtle Beach, I absolutely trust Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Whether it's instant cash to buy your home or a six-figure marketing plan to expose your home to the most people and sell it for the most money, or options that most agents can't offer, he has helped thousands of families with unique circumstances sell their homes on time and for the most amount of money. Now, you can find out in less than 60 seconds what your home is worth in this market by a true authority. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD, or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. With sellers at time front, you can agree to sell it on a certain date, take cash for their home, or even rent.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our approved marketing plan and sell it for the highest price.
work with my Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update, all kind of stuff going on. It's very, very interesting. And I'll tell you, I'll be, like fully transparent, like I always am. Sometimes too transparent, but the reality is we've seen definitely a slowdown in showings the last 7 days. I can't tell if it's like post-summer kind of slow down a little bit, where people are about to go back to school, and also some fear of the election. But we've seen showings all across the board kind of slow down a little bit. And I watch how many properties go pending every 7 days, every single day with the previous trailing 7 days. We track it every morning, talk about this every week on the show. We started doing that during COVID, so we have much more of a closer pulse in what's happening, because most people use, closed data, and we call that the rearview mirror data. It's hey, what closed last month? If it closed last month, when our contract 30 to 6 days prior to that. And so in many cases, you've been making decisions based on data that's 3 months old, which is a full quarter of the year, right? And so you want to make sure you're tracking both types of data, which we do, and we dig into that. I'm a big nerd for numbers, and we use that to our clients' advantage in many cases. But what we talk about is like, hey, what's our front windshield numbers? And that's properties that go under contract in the last 7 days. We just tracked that during COVID, and you're able to kind of watch that. And last week's show, we had 556 properties went under contract, and it was a 16% increase week over week. So it jumped up, right? That's when rates went back down. We had a 5-month low in rates, which was awesome there overall. I think overall they went down to I think it was like 6.81. They were down to, which is great. The last time it was at that low, I think, was February 2nd of this year prior to that. And so this week right now, 496 properties. So from 556 to 496, 11.4% decrease week over week, which is interesting, right? And volume, like I mentioned, anytime we're over 200 million, the market is rock and rolling. Last week's show is 213 million. Which is awesome. This week, 188 million. So it's down 12.47% week over week. So interesting numbers there. Overall, you are seeing a little bit, and it's seasonal a little bit, right? It's a little bit earlier than I thought it would be because there's still people in town, still traffic. So we'll kind of see it bounce around based on what happened, especially we're considering that, rates are still in the sixes, which is amazing. And so a lot of big stuff still moving. One property over $3 million under contract, 3 properties over $2 million, 18 properties over $1 million under contract, and 92 properties over 500,000. So lots of big stuff moving there. Overall, inventory did creep up a little bit overall for sure. So like last week's show, there were 1,274 single family resale homes in Horry County. That's just the easiest way to track it, right? It's the main county here. It's kind of resale homes, means non-new construction. And last week's show was 1,274. This week, 1,294. So a 20 unit increase week over week. And we're seeing that slowly climb up. At first it was in thousands, it was 1,100s. Now it's up to 1,294. We're about to cross the 1,300 home mark, which is interesting. It means more competition for sellers out there. We'll kind of continue to see what's happening. And so I think we're seeing some people with some hesitation with the election, right? Some fear. Just kind of, you see it tend to happen. For some reason, a lot of people use that as reason. There's a lot of fear based on what's happening. So I think it's a great time for buyers, great time for sellers. We still are a seasonal market, right? And so I think that you're going to see rates ease up here based on a lot of predictions. And we'll talk about that in a second of what economic drivers, can help control or influence rates. And there's a huge prediction. We're going to see the Fed decrease their rates in September. And so you're going to see that really happen. So you want to be teed up for that. If I'm thinking about selling, same thing for buyers out there, going to be ready, because as rates do go back down, if we get to low sixes, you'll see everyone start jumping back in overall. And so real quick recap for closed deals last month. You look at June, it's always, month versus month. So last June compared to June 2023, sales down 8.2%, 482 properties closed last month for single family resale homes overall. Pricing is pretty flat, which is interesting, right? So we're starting to see it be flat there overall, where prices were 1% increase with $385,450 for median price. Average sale price up 1.9% at $501,246. So above that $500,000, which is great. One thing really kind of helping protect price right now is inventory. Inventory is up significantly. It's up 41% year over year. Right now it's 4.1 months of inventory, meaning it's still a seller's market. Anything less than 6 months inventory is a seller's market overall. The one thing you're seeing showings per listing right now, the average listing on the MLS is getting 4.0 showings per listing. And the average amount of showings it takes to get a contract is 12.6. So you can see that problem there is you need 3 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to be able to get a contract. And so that's just something you run into overall with that. And so you want to make sure right now more than ever you have the right differentiation, the right marketing piece, and all that stuff overall. And so that's what we talk about right now. And I mentioned the number one differentiator for you is going to be the agent that you choose to understand marketing. Do they spend any money in marketing? We're seeing right now there's so many desperate agents out there do anything for a listing because they're all in that gravy train, right? Between 2020, 2021, 2022. And now you're seeing as the market has slowed down, sales have contracted a little bit. Lots of people are getting desperate, but they're not investing in marketing, which is what differentiates the property. It's the key point, right? They're killing the fuel for the one thing that helps the client. So you want to make sure if you go with anyone right now, you want to ask, hey, what's your marketing budget? What do you do to market? What do you do to make my property stand out versus anyone else? Those are the right questions you want to ask, right? Not, hey, what do you charge? Hey, what do you charge and what do you get for that? Maybe the better question to ask because it does make a massive, massive difference in terms of that. And you can see that based on the data, the average listing, right? 4 showings on average. How many showings does it take on average to get a contract based on the MLS data? 12.6. And so you need much more traffic than you're getting in most cases. The problem is everyone makes a mistake of thinking they're all agents the same. The problem is the average agent sells 4 homes a year in our marketplace. They do 0 marketing for your home, right? If they do anything, it's probably, pick me, I'm number one. It doesn't bring buyers to your property, and that's why your property sits on the market and does not get sold, and you continue to drop the price when meanwhile it could be marketing. That's the differentiator there. So if you want to know more about that, reach out, call us for sure. Lots of information going on with that. Condos really quick. Condos have been taking a beating lately. For sure. Last month, sales condos down 26% compared to the same month last year overall. Average sale price up 5.5%, which is good news. We haven't seen a big decline in condos yet. Ironically, I do think we'll probably see that soften a little bit here soon as inventory has gone up. Right now, $294,000 for average price for condos. Supply is up 106% from last year. Right now, 6.4 months of inventory for condos. It did cross the threshold from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And so that's something to watch out for. Overall, and like I mentioned, interest rates huge right now. We'll talk about that in a few minutes of like, hey, what's influences interest rates? Combination of different things like inflation, job data, things like that. We'll talk about that. But last week's show, we hit a 6.81 low last week, which is awesome for rates. Right now, it's back up a little bit, 6.91% in terms of 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which is awesome. We'll take anything the 6s right now. We can get a 15-year fixed rate, 6.33%, a jumbo loan, 7.07%, a 30-year FHA loan, 6.38%, which is great, and a 30-year VA, 6.40%. And so we're still in the 6s, lots of opportunity. If I'm a home seller, we may see some rates drop here as the Fed may look to drop their rates in September. And we'll talk about that correlation here in a second after this next break. Minutes.
Hey, WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new home,
about
ask Blake
just under
about his
10
guarantee.
minutes.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team now working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers. We have homes here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area. Even from $350,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, reach out, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD. That's 808. So one thing he's been doing here for years now is put our money where our mouth is. Most agents promise the world. We live by this thing called proof versus promises. We just case, here's our real-time buyers. Here's how many we have. We outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. And we'll leave listings, right? We still have lots of buyers. We have more buyers than we have listings on the MLS right now. I think there's about 6,000 listings on the MLS. Right now, active buyers that we have, we just crossed the 77,000 active buyers. Right now, 77,005 active home buyers. Again, 77,005 active home buyers. Look at properties here in the Grand Strand. I have Willie from New York on the website, which is awesome. I got Iris from Lower South Carolina. I got Deb from Salisbury, North Carolina. Basil from Smyrna, Georgia. I got James from Massapequa, New York. On here, I got Howard from Lexington, Kentucky. We got Charlotte, North Carolina, Fort Mill, South Carolina, another Charlotte, Myrtle's Inlet. You got Katie from Conway. So lots of different people from all over the globe. And like I mentioned, people ask the wrong question of like, hey, versus saying, how much you charge? So look, what do you do marketing wise? And like I said, that's one of the things that we're really below everyone else out the water. We outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. How we're able to do that, and what got us in Forbes and Wall Street Journal, all that, is I flipped the business model upside down. That specialist team we talked about allows us to do so. And so our marketing budget, like I mentioned, we're 75,000 plus a month, every single month, driving traffic from all across the globe. And the difference is we have what we call buyers in waiting, where most agents wait to start marketing for buyers for your property once the sign's in the ground. For us, we're spending that day after day after day for years. And so we stack all these buyers. And so we have this thing, buyers in waiting. We match up one of our agents. We make 16,000 phone calls a week on average in our team. And so they're matching up buyers and sellers. We're aggressive in how we do that. We don't apologize for that, because that's what you hired us to do, is actually sell the house, not sit back and put it in MLS. And so if you're thinking about selling, or know anyone else that's thinking about selling, have them reach out and call us, 843-808. So we're looking for listings, and especially listings we can get sold. And obviously buyers are smart. They know what's out there. They're very well educated. They're searching all the sites. And so our team, what we're good at is matching them up. And so what happens is many of them just get overwhelmed. 6,000 listings on the MLS. You want to have somebody who's like a concierge type person who can go and serve them and find the right properties for them. And obviously we want to share our listings that we have with one of our 77,000 active buyers, because if we get both sides of the commission, it's much more profitable for us. And that's how we get our client the result they want. So if you want to know more and see how it works behind the scenes, we show you everything. We pull the curtain back. Reach out, call me, 843-808 sold. Also, anybody you come across, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, do me a favor. Say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. Save me in your phone. Share it with them. Text them. Say, look, God, call my buddy Blake. It means more than anything for us. And the whole reason why I do this show is just to really kind of get that rewarding feeling of, hey, so-and-so listens to your show. They told me I should reach out. It's the best feeling, and also the best clients to work with as well. A couple quick success stories. Here's an interesting one. This is happening for us about once a month minimum right now. Lots of people love that instant cash offer. You're pricing the billboards around town, but big shout out to Reggie and Pamela. They had an amazing lakefront home in Conway that the house used to be the model home in their neighborhood. They want to move back to Georgia, be closer to family. The key, though, is that Pamela wanted to be able to guarantee their children be moved there before school year started. And they kind of wait a little bit to get started. They reach out to us, say, hey, we want a guaranteed cash offer. How much can you pay for us? We went and did the comp, showed it to them, gave them exactly what they wanted, which is a very, very, very fair price, right? Really by market value, cash offer as is, meaning they're not going to get, grilled trying to fix things up. It's exactly how it is. And so what we're going to probably do in this example, just side note, need some paint, some carpet. We're going to go and do that afterwards and have that. We bought that with our fund, came and made the cash offer guarantee for them. They can be there. We close the exact date they want to be there, I think, which is like August 14th. They know they can purchase the one in Georgia, and it works out win-win for both. No showings, not disturbing their children, and something that worked out. If you want to be a part of that, learn more about how that works, you can definitely reach out to us with our instant cash offer program. It works very, very, very well. Reggie and Pamela love it. Super happy as well. Also, big shout out to Lisa and Paul. They had a house in Myrtle Beach they had been trying to sell for over 8 months. Been listed with no real estate agent. They only had a few showings the entire time. They were very frustrated, and they feel like it didn't get the exposure it deserved. They almost gave up until a listener of this station told them to reach out, call Blake Sloan. I came in, we immediately identified the problem, which is marketing. I came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic, had it under contract within 7 days. Lisa and Paul were absolutely blown away. And so if you want to be that type of success story, we're seeing this happen over and over where properties are sitting on the market. Like I said, almost 50% of properties aren't selling right now in the current marketplace. So marketing matters more than ever for sure. How are we looking on time? 5 minutes. All right. I want to talk about two main things. Interesting data came out. This was in Bloomberg. Also, Zero Hedge talks about new home sales plunge as market slowdown continues. Interesting data. New home sales dropped 0.6 month over month in June, well below the expected 3.4 increase, confirming a broader market slowdown. Significant revision for May's number. It shows a steeper decline from 11.3% to 14.9%. Leaving new home sales down 7.4% year over year. And so it just talks about some data, something to keep watching there. You are seeing a lot more builders offer some incentives. Our number one competitor for our resale homes right now is new construction. They've been slashing prices. So you want to make sure you have an agent right now that can get you the differentiation you need, get you the eyeballs you need. But something we'll keep watching overall. It's a little bit, worrisome. There's kind of catching up on inventory, but we are definitely seeing a little bit of a slowdown overall. Couple minutes, get the question all the time. Hey, look, how does the economy impact mortgage rates? There's three really main things that they're looking for. It's influenced directly by the bond market, and the bond market is influenced by really three main things, which is, hey, number one, the rate of inflation, right? How many jobs is the economy adding? And three, the unemployment rate. And obviously it's indirectly tied to the Federal Reserve in terms of how they do their rates, not directly, but indirectly overall. And you've probably heard a lot of inflation over the last year or two. We've all felt it in terms of that. And so the Fed has stated their goal, get inflation back down to 2%. Right now, still higher than that, but it's moving in the right direction, right? We watch this thing. Everyone kind of, looks at it in terms of disclosure reports, right? But PCE look at different things, and different things that they're talking about overall with that. Also, how many jobs the economy is adding, right? Which is something that Fed obviously tends to watch in terms of that in what they do. And the third thing is obviously unemployment rate. With it, I'm one that believes, some of those numbers are very hard to trust. Once you watch them, they go back and revise them a month or 2 months later, which is something that the good news is that market does watch. And that's something interesting. But there's one tool that we use a lot. It's called the CME Fed Watch tool. It's one of those things that it's basically a Wall Street tool everyone uses to track, hey, what's going to happen in terms of rates going forward. And right now, there's a Federal Reserve meeting scheduled September 18th. And this tracks it real time. The probability they're showing of a Federal Reserve rate cut right now is looking at 100%, which is awesome overall with that. And so typically, it kind of goes back and forth in terms of what's happening and, kind of what you're seeing. There's one schedule for July 31st. It's showing a 95% chance there's no change at all, a 4.7% chance that it does decline. So that's one of the things we'll keep watching. The reason I share that, we're hopefully going to see interest rates ease. I'm thinking about selling, tee your property up at the right time so that you have everything ready to go for that rate. Because what's going to happen, it does anticipate that a little early. So if we know everybody's talking about that, hey, the Fed may cut rates, you're going to see the bond market react to that earlier than necessarily the actual meeting, and you're going to see rates drop down. Lots of buyers jump in. You want to make sure that your property is one of those on the market if you're thinking about doing it. The other part of that is Myrtle Beach is very seasonal. I do think, unless rates get down to the low sixes and stay there, November, December, January may be a little bit slow based on what we're seeing year over year. So if you want to know more how that works, always reach out to us. Our team stays on top of that. I could do a whole show on interest rate stuff, but just trying to give you that 30,000 foot view. And it's a good thing for buyers. If you're thinking about buying, tee it up, get pre-approved, reach out to us. We can get you set up on seeing some houses. Lots of great opportunities right now. And hopefully the rates will get down to mid sixes and potentially down to the low sixes, which would be awesome best case scenario if that does happen. And so also really quick, got 1 minute left. Our team is hiring. We've been absolutely still crushing. One thing I mentioned, we haven't pulled back on advertising yet in the last 2 years, even though that market has slowed down. We have lots and lots of leads. I think we had 1,400 plus buyer leads last month come through our team. We're looking to have people, if you're thinking about getting real estate, if you're already in real estate, we have a free scholarship program. I also have a real estate school that we have. If you want to, you can check out Sloan Scholarship. .com. We're looking to add people who love details, who love serving clients. We have clients from all over the globe, and we're talking on the phones all day, right? We kind of talk on the phones, match up properties, and our goal is we're very, very focused on giving 5-star service to our clients, and especially in this market. If you're an agent listening from the other area, we have exact step-by-step training. Reach out, call me, 843-808-SOUL. We'll see you back here next week at the same time.